everyone, it's Shari Carroll for SimonsStamp.com with a home decor project using some Prima products. I wanted to start off and show you how I typically have my projects laid out. So I just kind of dry fit everything and just kind of figure out colors and balance of my project. So I have my flowers here. I also have some flowers up here just to give it a little bit of balance. And I'll be using this Create die from Simon Says Stamp. And I'll be adding this pretty much at the very end. I also have a little tag that I've torn the bottom portion, and I'll also be adding that to the project, and a 2-inch paintbrush. And this is a really fun thing to add to a canvas. It gives it quite a bit of impact, and this tells the story of Create. The base that I'm working with is from Prima's Carte Blanche collection, and it has a really fun jute string at the top, and this is all wood, so it's a really sturdy surface for my project. The first thing I want to do is to add a little bit of texture to the background, so I have some clear crackle paste from Prima, and I'm going to start speeding this up just a little bit so I can fit it in the time allowed. But I'll stir this up really well with my palette knife, and just using the back of the knife, I'll go ahead and start spreading on some of this paste. I want some areas to be thick and some to be thin, and I'm just going in some general areas, a little bit at the top right, a little bit at the bottom right, and then some to the left. This doesn't take very long to add, and I'm just kind of smoothing things out with the back side of that palette knife and then kind of cleaning that up a little bit. Since this has to dry for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and use some matte gel medium, and I'll be attaching my brush down. And again, I'll be using the back of that palette knife and adding a generous amount to the back of that paintbrush. I'm sorry that I'm off screen for some of that. I do wear bifocals, so I have to kind of get it close up to myself. But I've put a generous amount on that paintbrush, and I'm setting it down to where the handle kind of hangs off the bottom. I thought it'd be kind of interesting just to have that down at the bottom. Once I have that down, I'll go ahead and press it down just a little bit and also make sure that I have that lined up. Once I have everything in position, I'll go ahead and let this sit and air dry. Now that everything's dry, I want to start adding a little bit of paint here, and I'm going to match these to my flower. And I noticed that it's a little bit bluer than the cracked pistachio, so I'll also be adding just a little bit of Peacock Feathers Distress Paint. I've taken the dauber tops off of my paints, and I've added the new caps that are really wonderful so that I can go ahead and squeeze out just a little bit. So I've added just a little bit of water, and now I'm mixing that together. I'll go ahead and look at my flower again and just kind of make sure that those colors go pretty well together. You can see where that little bit of blue is going to help bring that color right to that flower color. So once I'm happy with that, I'll go ahead and add some water to my wood background here and just start kind of tapping that brush in a little bit. I have a lot of paint on my brush, so right now I'm adding a little bit of water, or kind of cleaning it off in a bowl of water, and I'll just be spreading this out a little bit. From here, I'll go ahead and tip this up and back just a little bit. I want it to look distressed, and I don't want to look like it's perfect lines, so I want it to look like it's just been watercolored on. I can also get a really great effect by just kind of dabbing that a little bit with my paper towel and tipping the whole canvas back and forth just to get those drips to move around. Once I'm happy with that upper area, I can go ahead and move into the lower area. And I am hitting mostly where that crackle paste is so that I can get some really great texture with that crackle. So the paint will go into the cracks. Occasionally I'll dip into my water bowl and add a little bit more water, and then go ahead and tilt that canvas around to make everything flow around. And then I'll go back with my paper towel and go ahead and blot up some of those edges. And to finish up with my blue painting, I'll go ahead and add some of the color to the left side of the paintbrush and a little bit down towards the bottom. I don't want to go too far down in the bottom since my flowers will be sitting there, so I'll go ahead and blot a little bit of that up. And again, tilting my canvas to make the paint move a little bit more, and adding a little bit more stronger color towards the top. I've allowed my first layer of paint to dry completely, and I'm going to add a little bit of gray to this so it will match my living room, because I have that teal color and gray in my living room. I've just put down a little bit of the Hickory Smoke Distress Paint from Tim Holtz, and I've also watered that down. This really starts to flow into the cracks and gives me exactly that grayish color. You can see where it's just kind of spreading out a little bit. Really easy to work with, and it really looks fantastic over that blue. I won't be coloring all over the blue. I'm just adding like highlights, actually lowlights, just around the blue. And once I finish with this layer of paint, I'm going to allow this to air dry completely. With everything dry, I am now adding a layer of the matte gel, and this will seal in all those cracks and the paint so that the crackle won't try to peel off when the project's all complete. To save time, and since everything's going to have to dry anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start putting my flowers down. And to do that, I am just scooping up a little bit and putting it on the back side of the flower, kind of like putting butter on bread, just getting a nice amount for it to hold down in place. Once that dries, it'll really dry permanently. I'm putting these back down by memory. If you want to, you can go ahead and take a picture of your dry fit from the very beginning so that you know where to place everything. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dry fit my Create on here just to make sure that I've left room, because I do want it to overhang onto that paintbrush. I did die cut 4 pieces of the cardstock, and that was slate cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and put my Create words together so that it's almost like a chipboard. I'm also going to put my tag down in place, so I'm just spreading some of that paste on the back of that. And again, I'm sorry I'm off screen there. And I'll go ahead and set that down and then straighten it out to where I want it. And now I can let this completely dry. At this point, I'm ready for some finishing touches. So I have a little brad here, and I've cut up a foam square, and I'm just placing it in the center of that wrapping of the paintbrush and pressing that down. I also have these little flower embellishments that I've added to the project just to kind of scatter those around, and they really match with the natural feel of this canvas. My Create has been lifted up on the right side just with a little bit of foam, and then it also rests on that paintbrush. I'm also adding a twine bow that I folded in half, and I'm using a glue dot just to get a little bit of adhesive and tucking it under those flowers. This is one of my favorite ways to add twine these days. And I'm going to run it through the whole of that paintbrush and just kind of let it rest and wrap around. I'll also cut some small loops and tuck those in between some of the other little flowers. The loops are really easy to make. Just cut a short piece of the twine and fold it together and put a glue dot at the 2 ends. And then you can tuck those in between the flowers. I want to add a little bit of shine, so I have the sterling glass glitter, and this is also from Prima, and it's not like glass, it's just really shiny like glass. And to put this down, I'm just using some matte medium and then just kind of shaking that out. I have a lid to a box underneath to catch it all, and right now I'm spreading it out with the back end of my paintbrush. I'm putting the art glass down randomly, but also in the areas where I have that blue and gray paint. So again, I'll just kind of sprinkle that on and maybe flick some off with my finger just to kind of lighten the look of it. This is really nice because it really goes with that wrapping of the paintbrush, so the silver shine coordinates. I'm also adding some sterling silver beads, and these are also from Prima. They're really tiny and fun to work with because you can just use your matte medium to put them on. You can use your finger to brush some away and kind of lighten the effect. I'm also adding them over the art glass so they kind of mix in together. When you put the matte medium down, of course it looks white and it dries very clear. I want to add a little bit more to the paintbrush and kind of carry that silver down and just kind of add a little edge there. So I've added a few more of those silver beads there. Here's a look at my finished piece. I did add the word joy so that it says Create Joy. I really like the look of keeping it natural with the wood and the bristles of the brush and kind of carrying those colors through. The art glass and little silver beads go with the paintbrush and also give it a shabby chic look. And the colors and textures of the background will match my living room. I hope I've given you some inspiration for trying something new with these products from Prima. And as always, thanks for watching.